Hello everyone who's on. Brian, I'm super excited that you're cooking with me tonight. Double thumbs up for you. Brian went to Aldi today and he got lemons, he got chickpeas and the blue cheese, and he got the kale at the farmer's market earlier this weekend. So he had some of these pieces at home already and then just went to Aldi to pick up the rest of what he needed. So if you are cooking with me tonight, go ahead and get out the bread for the croutons. If you are using that, you don't have to, it is optional, but it does add a little more oomph to the salad. Get your head of kale out. So curly kale, or you might have found some lacinato kale, which I'll talk about in just a second. 2 lemons, 1 or 2 lemons. If you're just cooking for 1 or 2 people, you only need 1 lemon. But if you're cooking for 4 people like I am, you might need 2. So that's that. Also some olive oil and some salt. Your hot sauce of choice, whatever you like. Your blue cheese, of course. And I believe that's it. The other important thing is to go ahead and preheat your oven right now to 400 degrees. We are going to roast the chickpeas and the bread cubes at 400 just for like 10 or 15 minutes, just to help crisp up the bread, give the chickpeas some cooking time to let that hot sauce soak into them. And so I'm just going to cut these cubes into bite-sized pieces. Just envision you eating a crouton in your salad. How big do you want that crouton? That's how big you're going to cut your bread pieces. And so I just like to make slices like this all through the loaf. And I should be using a bread knife right now, but I'm not because you don't necessarily need one. Hi, Caitlin. Thanks for joining. And then what we'll do is cut these into, like I said, individual bite-sized pieces. Doesn't have to be perfect. You can make your croutons whatever size you want. And then go ahead and pop them in your bowl. And then we'll go ahead and do that with the rest of these. So if we want to go a little faster, we can stack some of these guys. We'll do 1 cut down the middle. If you are cooking with me tonight, let me know how the speed's going. Am I going too fast? Am I going too slow? Let me know. Hi, Hannah. Good to see you. Thanks for joining. Okay, so if you're familiar with eyeballing measurements, I would maybe like a tablespoon. You don't want too much because it'll get too soggy, but you do want a little bit because the fat from the oil is going to help the bread crisp up a little bit. And then what we'll do is just sprinkle a little bit of salt on here just to add a little extra flavor. The fun part about making croutons at home is that you can really spice them up however you want. So go through your spice cabinet. If you're feeling a little spicy tonight, go ahead and, I don't know, maybe throw some chili powder on there. You do you. All right, and then just get your hands in that bowl and toss those breadcrumbs just to let the olive oil, salt and pepper, and whatever spices you put in coat each piece of bread. And then we'll dump this on our sheet pan. And my sheet pan is going to double tonight for the bread and the chickpeas, so I recommend doing the same thing. So just go ahead and push the bread to one side of that sheet pan, and we'll put the chickpeas on the other side. Again, I'm cooking for 4, so I'm going to use 2 cans of chickpeas. Hot sauce. Go ahead and add your hot sauce. About a tablespoon or 2, or however spicy you like your chickpeas. Pretty good. Chickpeas. These guys are going to be our protein source for tonight. Also got lots of good fiber, complex carbs for sustained energy. Oh, it smells so good. Okay, now pop those on your sheet pan as well. Again, the oven is at 400 degrees. We're just going to put them in for about 10, 15 minutes. I have a fun little way to do it. There's obviously many ways that you can do this, but what I like to do is kind of pull some of these loose leaves off the bottom of the stem here. We're still going to eat these. And then with your right hand or your left hand, hold the bottom of that stem here. And then with your other hand, squeeze the bottom of the stem near your hand, and then slide your fingers up. And then you can pull off all of the leaves from the stem, and the stem is left behind. Pretty cool, huh? I love this trick. It never gets old for me. Once you get your kale destemmed, go ahead and just bunch it all together, kind of roll it up on your cutting board. What we're going to do is run our knife through it and slice it, chop it. Got kale for days up in here. Once you got your kale in the bowl, grab your lemons. So the acid from the lemon here is going to help us tenderize the kale. It's going to help break down the fibers in the kale leaves and make the kale much more tender. I don't know if you've ever eaten raw kale before. That hasn't really had anything done to it, but it's pretty chewy and fibrous and bitter. And so this process, this massaging process, is really going to help remove all of those characteristics of raw kale and make it a much more enjoyable eating experience. Once you got your lemon in, you're going to want to get about a pinch of sea salt or whatever salt you have. You know, restaurants oftentimes put a little bit of salt on their salads, which might be why restaurant salads taste so good. So don't be afraid to use a little bit of salt on your greens at home. A little seed there. Okay, and then the last thing is just a drizzle of olive oil. Not too much, because we can always add more. This helps add a little extra liquid too to massage this kale, let that massaging process happen a little easier. But it also contains healthy fats that allow our body to absorb the vitamin A and the vitamin K from this kale. Without a source of fat, our body can't absorb some nutrients. So it's always a good idea to have some kind of healthy fat in your meal, simply for better nutrient absorption. Okay, now you get in, and this is where the fun begins. You literally massage the kale, and you don't have to be, careful with it. Really get in there and massage it, squeeze it between your hands. Again, think of breaking down those plant fibers and tenderizing them. And you might get a little messy, you might get kale everywhere if your bowl's not big enough, but that's okay. We're gonna do this for a couple of minutes, and you'll see the kale is going to significantly decrease in volume. And you'll know when it's done if you just taste a kale leaf. So if you're not sure if it's done, if you're done massaging, just pick up a little leaf, taste it. It's still pretty chewy. It has a good flavor though. It's got a little bit of lemon, a little bit of, not even saltiness, just like the kale tastes better because you've added a little bit of salt to it. So I'm gonna continue on for another minute or so, massaging this until it's tender how I want it. Ooh, yeah. And if you don't like blue cheese, you can of course use any other kind of cheese. Feta is really delicious. Goat cheese is great. You could do Parmesan cheese. You can use whatever you like. What I'm gonna do is just gently massage that cheese into the kale here, because what we're doing is distributing that blue cheese throughout the salad so that you're not getting like a huge clump of it in one spot. Blue cheese is a pretty potent, strong cheese, so you really just want like a gentle flavor of it. You really don't want a huge chunk, unless you absolutely love blue cheese, and then by all means. Ooh, oh my gosh, this stuff smells great. All right, so we're just scooping some salad, some greens here as our base. Scoop some of our buffalo chickpeas on top. Blue cheese, just a little extra topper here, especially if you like the blue cheese. And then a few of those wonderful croutons. Delicious. Yum. Maybe a tiny bit more blue cheese. Like I said, fat is good for you. Fat helps your body absorb nutrients. It helps you feel satisfied longer after a meal so that you're not hungry like an hour later and then you're raiding the pantry or the fridge for a midnight snack. So fat is your friend. Well, there you have it, y'all. Buffalo blue cheese chickpea chopped salad. It's not to like. I love the combination of the blue cheese and this kale. It's just so good. It really is.